Speaking of reliability, a podcast with good friends talking with you about reliability engineering topics. Welcome to Speaking of Reliability. This is Fred Schenkelberg.
And this is Enrico Belmonte.
Hey, Enrico. Hey, I got a quick question for you based on a little bit of what we talked about the topic for today. How did you discover or first run across Accendo Reliability?
Yeah, that's a good question, Fred. I need to think a little bit about it, but I think it was like that. I was looking for experts to extend my networking. At that time I was leaving the previous company where I was, and then moving to the next one, and I felt like I need to enhance my networking going to externals. And the first, we'll say, the most relevant website I met that time was AccendoReliability.com. And you remember I contacted you, it was like, I think, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
I contacted you and you were really welcoming me and say, hey, you can contribute to that. It was, since then, it was a great experience for me. But, it was pretty rare to find a website with so many contents, but also with people like you that are happy to share their knowledge. So it's still a great website, I think.
Well, yeah, no, I hope so. It continues to grow, and we keep adding folks to it. And I should probably go off air and remind you that I'm still looking for your next article to get posted. But I know you've been busy.
Right. It's quite a long time. Yeah,
yeah, just a little nudge there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so it was probably through a search, or were you on LinkedIn?
Yeah, it was either on LinkedIn or on Google. But I also used to be more present on LinkedIn, and I've seen the lot of contribution that you have written, and I said, Fred should be someone I need to contact to extend my network and to exchange about reliability. Is a good guy, I think.
Yeah.
So I said, let's try, because there are a lot, especially I think in the past, there are a lot of experts. You try to contact them and you get no answer. Typically
Right.
you say, hey, I'm interested in your topic. Are you available for a quick exchange? And you got no answer.
Yeah.
But what's different if you get some answers? Say, hey, let's discuss. Let's see if you have something interesting to share.
There's two parts to that, Enrico, and part of it is, behind why I do it is, one, I do generally like to share what I know, and I've created Accendo Reliability, I should say, as a platform so others can do that and quickly find an audience. When we first started it was very, very small audience and very little traffic. But at this point, when you joined it, you immediately had thousands of people that see your work. So it's meant to be that way, for people that want to share what they know and help other people learn. The people that want to learn can find it and find stuff that's useful for them, and it's free for all of that. So it was the intent. But the second part of that is, like, just this morning, I got a message through LinkedIn saying, hey, do you provide this kind of training? Or if not, do you know somebody that does? And I said, I know somebody that does. It's actually close to where you are. So here's an introduction, and go. And what I have found is that the more you share, the more it's not advertising directly. It's content marketing, where you share what you know and make it useful and help people solve problems. And I used to describe it this way: if I help 100 people by sharing an article and something that helps them solve a problem, 10 of them will come back and look for more information and maybe buy a book or take a course or do something like that. And then one of those 100 will say, hey, are you available for consulting? Yeah. And so it supports the consulting business, and I'm mostly retired, not totally retired. If it's a really interesting project, I'll take it on. But most of the time, I think we're up close to 90 contributors on Accendo. So I
Mhm.
may well know somebody very well that is the right fit for what you're looking for and probably even live close to you. So it's not guaranteed by any means, but it's a way of overall, it's a way to giving back to the community because when I first got started, I had a library, right? I went and found a book on accelerated testing. I saw that Wayne Nelson, the author of that book, was presenting at a conference. So I went to that conference and met him, and we've been friends ever since. I
Yeah.
can ask him questions. He checks in with me. How's it going? And I haven't heard from him in about a year. I should probably reach out to him. But he helped me immensely to meet more people, to learn more, and it all circles back to what you were talking about: is the desire to increase your network, and that's a part of professional development that a lot of people skip or minimize for some reason.
Yeah, I think this is an important point, and in some companies, so I can of course understand that for some companies, the competencies also on the methods. So we are developing for
Hmm.
reliability, like FMEA, like DRBFM, or like DFR. So these are strategic assets, right?
Hmm.
But the company alone are too small, and if you don't get contaminated, let's say, if you don't get a continuous exchange from other expert all over the world over the long time, you are losing a lot of opportunities.
Hmm.
And I think this is something that a lot of companies don't pay attention too much, because they say we have the expert should solve the problem, right? But
Right.
the expert should be, let's say, cultivated over the time. There are a lot of the competence can increase, or even in this, especially in this digital era. And it's important to have someone like you, like the other contributors in Accendo, they are ready to exchange about novelties in reliability field, how they approach the problem, what is their experience on certain problem, like for example currently facing. It's really important, because otherwise, just looking inside a company, it might not be so, let's say, getting to the point where you want to be, right?
Right.
So I think it's definitely is underestimated what chain reliability can do, but in general, what exchanging information with externals can bring to the company where people, are generally working 8 hours a day. No.
Right. And it's when I was at Hewlett Packard, my predecessor Dick Moss had established an internal email list, and I don't. It's not actually an email list. It was some other version, but if you sent a listserv, I think it was called, you could subscribe to it, and then you could send a message to it. And what it was set up to do is, let's say you had a question on accelerated testing, and it would go out to all of the subscribers. And the
Yeah.
custom or the protocol that we tried to follow on that was, if you have an answer for that, don't respond to everybody. Respond back to the person that asked the question. And then it was on the person that asked the question to summarize the answers and
Mm.
post that back out for everybody else. It was a way to, this was really early on in email being available, even inside the company. And it was a way to prevent us from all getting bombarded with reply all, for 28
Yeah.
times kind of thing. And it worked mostly. And it would be 2 or 3 questions a week. And that was going out to about 2,000 engineers across HP. And it was, my role was managing the list and making sure people got answers. And most of the time they did. Most of the time, people on the list would contribute something back. So Accendo is like that. We don't have a list serve where I should probably set up a question area to ask the experts or something like that. But it's similar in practice, is that instead of asking just a couple thousand people, we can post a question through our newsletter and ask 10,000 people all over the world
Yeah.
in all kinds of industries.
Yeah, and that's making Accendo so rich, And I think the philosophy is behind Accendo is the right one, to exchange information, yeah, not to be so close when talking to other. Of course, some secret cannot be disclosed. That's of
Right,
course
right, yeah,
that's part of the compliance policy. Yeah, but for a lot of topics, or reliability engineer, an exchange can be beneficial. Can be beneficial for everybody. Like
yeah.
talking about accelerating testing, talking about requirements, but also talking how to do trainings, what the experience you face by doing training, by
Mm-hmm.
implementing design for reliability in the company. They are pretty much always the same question. Yeah. Now with AI we have new ones, but there are a lot of, let's say, 80% of the challenges I'm facing right now. You have already seen it in different companies, or Carl has seen it. It's
Yeah,
it's it's like this. It's always industry, always same questions, same problems, and we try to solve innovative way. But getting knowing, you can learn a lot from mistakes and for success people did in the past.
yeah,
That's definitely
yeah.
something enriching. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much true. And it's one of those things, whether it's LinkedIn or this website, or even if you have your own blog or podcast, it's you get more than you put into it. And none of my work on Accendo or on our podcasts and stuff like that and this show is not monetized. You're not getting a bunch of ads. We don't have banners. We don't have a bunch of stuff like that. I'm trying to very seriously avoid making the visitors to the site that are there to learn something, or like you and I there to contribute something, um, being the product for the site to make money. If we have 100,000 people visiting the site and we put ads on there, or if I'm on YouTube and have so many subscribers to a YouTube channel, it can be monetized and all that stuff. That has never been the objective. The payback is, if you like, I know you work in a appliances company, and if you make a better washing machine and I can buy it and I get great value from it, we all benefit. We have less of a
Yeah.
landfill. We got more stuff that works better, on and on and on. But we have people working in oil exploration, in solar energy, in automobiles, and photoelectric systems, on and on and on, medical devices. And imagine this, and we send out the newsletter, goes to close to 10,000 people each Sunday. If 1,000 of them learn something, just a little piece that they can use, it makes, 100 makes $1,000 benefit. That adds up
Yeah.
real quick. And if one or two of them make the breakthrough that saves their company a couple $1,000,000, well, prices don't go up, right? It's the cost of creating products goes down. And I see it as, one, I've learned so much from so many other people all through my career. And like you, have not been shy about, and hey, I got a question. Maybe you can help me with this.
Yeah.
And then reinforcing that with following up on networking and checking in with people and asking questions and just saying, hey, how's it going? What are you working on today? But you have to put energy into it. It's not the ones I really don't like on LinkedIn is somebody says, hey, I'd like to connect with you. And they're a reliability engineer. Yeah, sure, I'll connect with you. And the very first message is, do you have any work for me? I just got unemployed, and it's the only reason I'm on LinkedIn. I said, well,
Yeah.
you should have started this, 2 years ago and actually engaged with LinkedIn and contributed articles or answered questions or did something so you were visible so
Yeah.
that people get to know you. Then they might help you. If it's out of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
cold, I don't know you.
Yeah. That's definitely a problem, and I can underline what you're saying, because people, there are not so many people that or there are a certain number of people that react to the post that you write on Accendo, but
Mm-hmm.
also I have also an experience on LinkedIn where I post regularly for 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
every week with a certain content, and there were lot of people that answered and contributed to the
Mm-hmm.
discussion. It was really enjoyable. But there are a lot of people that are reading the content and they do not react because they do not have time and so on. But it
Right.
was like a month ago, I visited a company, and the vice president say, I know you because I'm reading I'm reading your post on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You say, hey, okay, do you enjoy it? Yeah, it's really powerful pulp content. So I like what you're writing. So that means you it's something you feel you are contributing, right,
Right.
to the culture in terms of reliability. You are a knowledge as expert. It's something that is a good feeling. Is
It is a
something you
good
say,
feeling.
hey,
It's very satisfying, and it's a resume builder. People, if they know you, they don't need to read your resume. You're not being
yeah,
compared for the lowest
yeah,
bidder. You're the guy.
yeah,
You're the one I want to hire,
yeah.
kind of thing. And well, I was at a conference years ago. Geez, we've been doing this podcast for a long time, and it was a big round table for lunch, right? And you went through a buffet, and you just sat wherever. And I'm chatting with the people next to me, and a guy across the table says, "Hey, I know that voice. Do you do a podcast?" It's like, and so we talked about the podcast a little bit, and I didn't know the person next to me. We were just chatting, and he goes, "That looks like a plant. Like, did you mean to advertise your podcast that way?" And you're like, "No, no, I had no idea." Yeah. But yeah, you get known, and it's in the hardest part about it, any of the social media stuff, and even supporting the website, is you just got to show up. If you're going to do
Yeah,
an article for, like you were doing posts on LinkedIn for a year, and I remember that they were great and beautiful, well done, artwork type. I call it artwork
yeah,
because the way you
yeah,
set
yeah, I
up your
remember.
graphics and stuff.
Yeah,
But it, it does take time. It does take energy, and I submit that it pays back. And it's what you talked about at the start was the networking part. You get out of the network what you put into it, and more. I submit, but it does. You have to realize that if it's talking to other people and your peers, and if that's the way you enjoy learning, and if it's a way for you to learn well and with confidence, you got to put energy into it to create those friendships basically, and
yeah,
bonds with people so that you can say, hey, I got this problem and I'm trying, is this a good approach? And you get somebody to bounce it off of, you get some insights from somebody else. If you walk down the street to ask people randomly walking down the street you've never met before, or even at a conference where there are other reliability engineers, the chance that you'll get meaningful feedback is pretty low.
yeah,
But if you
yeah. It's something you
establish
need to
your,
cultivate. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, you
yeah,
need
that's
to.
the
Yeah,
word.
yeah, yeah. But there is, I think, another problem. I don't know if you agree with me on that, because you are a consultant, so I mean, it's part of your 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 job to be active on the social media. But for the
Uh,
all the
yeah,
for people being in the company with the regular salary, they are probably afraid of posting, because someone is posting, probably is looking for a new job, or you're posting, you are sharing some sensitive information outside of your company. I think these thoughts, they are present in a lot of experts, so they prefer not to get into trouble and say, okay, I don't share anything,
yeah, it varies by company. I know IBM, for their scientists and engineers, they were encouraged to publish and to write
Ah,
technical papers and go to conferences and present and do stuff like that. Whereas Intel was not. They
mm,
they just didn't. No, that's, you don't do that. And it was company specific. Different cultures did it. And at HP, it wasn't banned. It wasn't encouraged to post and publish and stuff like that. It was, but I made the argument that we don't have that many reliability professionals by title in the company. And I want to go learn what IBM's doing. I want to go learn what Dell's doing. I want to go learn what,
Yeah.
AMD is doing and all these other companies that are at these conferences. And it's an investment. It takes time to build relationships and so on. And my boss at the time, he understood that completely. And part of my argument is in order to advance in the technical career ladder, you had to be somebody that was sought out and for their expertise. And it didn't say within the company, but it was implied that others in the company look to you to help them solve the real gnarly problems or get advice, or you were the go-to person kind of thing
Yeah.
as a way to do that. And I says, I can't become that person unless I actually create that expertise. And there's no one in the company here that can teach me that has the time to teach me that. But if I have connections with 20 other people in the field that are my seniors and I'm learning from, it doesn't take them very much time. The reliability practice is universal. We're
Yeah.
not trading, what kind of chips we're putting on our computers or any other trade secrets or type stuff. And I can advance so much quicker rather than doing it by trial and error. And my boss says,
Yeah.
that makes sense. We can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, but for all the listener to the podcast, I don't know how is the situation here on the different companies. Do you want to post content on the web, so on LinkedIn or Accendo, but you are afraid of doing that? Are you allowed to do that? How is the situation? Because I think I really, I think I agree with you that to become a real expert, you need to be a knowledge as expert beyond the company you're working in.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
think, yeah,
Yeah. And it used to be books and technical papers. Now it's social media and conferences that you make those network connections.
yeah, there are plenty of possibilities, but you should take something. You should participate to the external world. Let's say,
Yeah.
yeah, not just working in your company. I think this is important message that I'm not sure that all people are agree with that, but I'm convinced that you become richer in terms of culture if you go outside.
That's true. Yeah, one of the things I ran into is the hesitation is, well, if you make a good network, you might get hired away. And it was somebody framed it this way, and are you training your employees? Well, if I train them, they'll leave,
Yeah,
right? Well, what if you don't train them? They stay. you know, so you get what you invest in, and I think
yeah,
the same applies because most of us have to take care of our own careers, and yeah, if a great opportunity comes, you might take it. But if the company is encouraging you to network and you're making strides within your own company, there's more reason to stay. I think
yeah,
so. And if somebody's going to leave, they're going to leave anyway, whether you
yeah.
help them network or not. Yeah, it's an important thing is to create that network and exercise it, be helpful back to your network, help other people. Um, Look for those opportunities to do that. And if you really want to contribute reliability related stuff, head over to Accendo and let us know. We'll get you set up. We're always looking for good content, good contributors. But anyway, good topic, Enrico.
Yeah, thank you for the
Yeah,
discussion, Fred. Yeah,
yeah.
yes.
So if you've been listening to this and either you want to get involved or you think this is a great idea, or if you have some success stories or what kind of barriers you're seeing, let us know. We'd love to help you understand what our experience could help you with, or we could talk about it, or both, on a future episode. Head over to accendoreliability.com/go/SOR. There's a couple of ways to get in touch with us. And Enrico and I and the other hosts are available through LinkedIn and our About pages. I think some of them are even on Facebook, but I don't know. Uh, but there's lots of ways you can get involved and contribute and engage with us at whatever you're comfortable with. And we encourage you to create your network and be part of our larger community of professionals.
Thank you, Fred.
Thanks, Enrico. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Speaking of Reliability. We invite you to join the conversation. If you have a question or a topic that you think we should discuss in a future show, please let us know. You can find a comment box below the episode show notes, or just leave a note as part of a review on iTunes.